Okay, now Bhomik, just send me your doubts from the module. Whatever question numbers you're having doubts from the module exercise, please send it. In the meantime, let's look at another question. Now, we were talking about tension in threads also last time. So let's see a question based on that concept of tension. So, so this is the situation. We are applying a horizontal force of magnitude 12 newtons. Okay. So we want to find the two things: the acceleration of the blocks. So we'll obviously assume that the thread does not break, okay, and the tension in the thread. Okay, we will discuss after this question. No, Dhruv. Yeah, Adinath, your answer is correct. Dhruv, your calculation is wrong. Just check. Yeah, Bhomik, in exercise 3, section B, tell me the question numbers you have doubts in. There are 6 questions, there are 6 MCQs. Just tell me which questions you have doubts in. Yeah, Aparna, correct. Bhagyashri, correct. Bhagyashri and Aparna and Adinath, your answers are correct for acceleration. Dhruv, have you checked your calculation? Yeah, Bhagyashree, tension is correct. Dhruv, you got the answer correct. Aparna, Acha, all three of you are getting different answers. Okay, let me tell what is the correct answer for tension. It is 8 newtons. Okay, the correct answer for tension is 8 newtons. So I'll just put up the answers first, then give you the solution. So acceleration will come out to be 0.4 meters per second square. All of you got this correct. But tension, all of you are, I mean, some of you are getting different values. So just check out your calculation. So it will be 8 newtons. Yeah. So the first thing we have to understand here is that tension will act in this manner over here. Action reaction, equal and opposite on the two blocks like that. So when you look at the individual blocks over here, the forces acting on this one will be the external horizontal force with which we are pulling it, and the string is applying a backward tension on it. Of course, on this one there is tension equal and opposite. And then there are the vertical forces which are not really necessary here because they balance each other, but anyway, show them. Weight, normal reaction, normal reaction. So now the other thing which is important is both have the same magnitude of acceleration. Both have the same acceleration vector actually, same magnitude and same direction. So both of them are moving along the horizontal direction with an acceleration E. So as usual, we'll take the x-axis as our horizontal and we'll take the y-axis as our vertical, and we'll write the force equations. Okay, so in this diagram also important that they are both moving with the common value of acceleration. So 20 kg, 10 kg. The force we are applying is 12 newtons, okay, and G is 10 meters per second square. So now for this block M1, we can see that along the x-axis, the net force is just T, and that should be equal to mass into acceleration. So that's my equation 1. And similarly for the block M2, if you look along the x-axis, the net force is F minus T, and that should be equal to mass into acceleration. So that's my second equation. So actually everything we need will be solved from these two equations. The other two equations I'm writing are totally unnecessary. Along the y-axis, N1 minus M1G is 0. So that is telling you that N1 is equal to the weight, which is 200 newtons. So this has not been asked, so it's not really necessary, but just to complete. Similarly, for M2 along the y-axis, N2 is balancing the weight. So this normal reaction is 100 newtons. Okay, but the main thing is we want to find out acceleration and tension. So we need to solve the equation 1 and 2. So equation 1 is T is equal to 20A, and equation 2 is F minus T, that is 12 minus T is equal to 10A. So just add the two equations, solve them simultaneously, add it. So 12 will come out to be 20 plus 10A. Or if you solve this in parametric form, you would have got on adding that F is equal to M1 plus M2. So the acceleration becomes F upon M1 plus M2, which is nothing but 12 upon 20 plus 10. So that is 0.4 meters per second square, because everything is in SI. So whether you take from this equation or from this equation, it's one and the same thing. And then you substitute this acceleration back in which equation? In equation 1. So substitute. So acceleration is coming out to be 0.4 meters per second square. Now substitute this in equation 1. So T is equal to M1A, So that will give you that the tension is equal to 8 newtons. Now, mind you can also do this by substituting in the second equation, and it should give you a consistent answer. Okay. Or you can substitute in equation 2, which is that F minus T is equal to M1E. So 12 minus T should be equal to 100 into 0.4. Oh, sorry, not 100, 10. The mass is 10, is the weight which is 100. Okay. So this will also give you the same thing. T is equal to 8 newtons. In fact, that can be a way in which you check the consistency of your equation. So you know that you've not made any mistake. If the two equations are giving you different values of t, then it's an obvious thing that you would have made some kind of a mistake while solving. So Aparna and Adinath, hope you've just checked your calculations once and it's clear the value of tension. Acceleration, all of you got correct, so no problem. Okay, so hope this is clear, people. Okay, now we'll just look at a couple of doubts in the exercise problems that have been sent to me. So Newton's laws, module 1, that is chapter 2. We will look at exercise 2, question number 7 to begin with. Okay. So this exercise 2, question number 7 is on page number 42. So if you have the module in front of you, just go through the question and I'll explain. And then we'll also understand exercise 3, section B, some of the MCQs. Bhomik, you still have to send me the question numbers for the MCQs. There are 6 in all. So which one do you have doubts in? Yeah, Yuvraj, the distance between M1 and M2 will always remain equal to the length of the thread. That is a given. Okay, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Okay. So question 4, 5, and 6. Okay, we'll look at these. First also. Okay. Okay, Adinath, I'll pick up that also. Exercise 6, question 2. Acha. Question number 6 in exercise 2. Okay, we'll pick up 6 and 7, both of them. All right, so let's start with questions 6 and 7 in exercise 2. So starting with question number 6. Okay. So hope you're done with the solution of this question. Okay, Dhruv, you solved the 7th one, good. Then come to the 6th one. So let's see what's happening in this question. A ball of 100 grams and another ball of 120 gram move towards each other in the same direction with speed of 6 and 5 respectively. If they stick to each other, what would be the velocity of the combined mass? Okay. So let's say we have a situation like this, that on a surface we have two balls. Now they are moving in the same direction. They are not moving in opposite directions, mind you. Okay. So this one is moving like this at, let's say, or let's say this is the initial velocity. So we just take this as u. So this is 6 meters per second, and the mass of this one is 100 grams, and this one's mass is 120 grams, and this one is moving at 5 meters per second. If it had said that they are moving opposite to each other, then we would have taken this one's direction as opposite like this, but they're moving in the same direction. So we have to take it like this. Okay. So now what happens is that after some time, they will probably, so this is the situation initially. Let's say this is t equal to 0, this is t equal to 0. So this is moving faster than this. So eventually the two of them will collide. And after colliding, it is given to us that they will stick to each other. So let's say after some time over here, they collide and they get stuck to each other. So they get squashed and stuck to each other in one common mass, m1 plus m2. So this happens at some time t, and that is 220 grams. And that common object is now moving at some velocity v. So we have to find out v. So what is happening is that as they are colliding, as they come in contact, they apply equal and opposite force on each other. In fact, they apply what we call equal and opposite impulse on each other. So this one is applying some impulse on this force into time. This will apply an equal and opposite impulse on this. So the external impulse on the system is zero. In any collision we had discussed. So external impulse on the system is equal to 0. So therefore, momentum should be conserved for the system, that is. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. So that is why in the sixth one now, when we apply momentum conservation, Bhagesh, your answers are correct. Okay. What should happen is initial momentum, which is m1 u1 plus m2 u2, because they are both in same direction, should become final momentum, which is total mass into final velocity. Okay. So this should become 100 into 6 plus 120 into 5 should become 220 into v. So v will become 1200 divided by 220. So that is 60 by 11. Approximately 5.5 meters per second. But you'll notice something interesting here. The answer is not this. Okay. The answer is not this because the question's language has a mistake. The question doesn't mean that they are moving in the same direction. They're actually moving in opposite directions. So this is when they are moving in same direction. That is what is given in the question actually. But it's a bit ambiguous because it also says that they are moving towards each other in the same direction. So what the question actually means to say is that they are moving towards each other. Actual question, there should be a correction in it, that they are moving towards each other, okay, along the same line, not the same direction. The line is the same, but the directions are opposite. So this is where there's a mistake in the language of the question. It should not say same direction, it should say same line. Directions opposite. So for that situation, you will see that it actually looks like this. The velocities are directed towards each other, but along the same line. So the line of motion is the same, but the directions are actually opposite. Same values. If you solve it with this assumption that they're moving oppositely, you'll come to the conclusion that they collide somewhere in between. And after having collided, suppose they become one object like this of m1 of mass m1 plus m2. And let's assume that they are moving in this direction. So again, conservation of momentum. Because the net external, this is for the system. So that will tell us that initial momentum is m1 u1 minus m2 u2. Note the minus sign is because the direction is opposite. And that should become m1 plus m2 into v. So this time when you substitute, this left hand side will be 0. So that is what will tell you that the final velocity is 0. And that is the given answer. So the given answer is okay, but just make a correction in the language of the question, it should be along the same line but opposite directions. Okay. So you can think of this question like two versions. Suppose they are moving along the same direction, such that M2 is actually going away from M1, but M1 is approaching it at a faster rate. So they are eventually going to collide. In that case, your final velocity should have come out to be this value. Whereas if you assume that they're moving like this, that they're moving in opposite directions directly towards each other along the same line, then your final velocity will become zero. Okay, so hope this question is clear now, Bhaumik and Dhruv. Oh, sorry, Adinath. Yeah, this was your question, Adinath. Okay, good. Now moving on to the seventh question. Seventh also you have to do momentum conservation. So the initial mass, which is 50, into the velocity, which is 12. So the initial momentum is 600 kilogram meter per second. That should be equal to the final momentum. But in the final case, you have added 10 kg mass to it. So the total mass will become 60. So the speed will reduce from 12 meters per second to how much? 10 meters per second, because the momentum should remain 600. Okay, so seventh question also you just apply the concept of momentum conservation. Yeah. Now this is moving. This is the mass of how much is it? 50 kgs. And it's moving with an initial velocity u, which is 12 meters per second. Now, after some time, as it is moving, by the time it reaches somewhere here, we are adding some mass on top of it. So we've added some mass. So its velocity will change as it picks up this mass. So the additional mass that we placed on it is 10 kg. But as we place this mass, there is no external force that is acted on the system. So momentum should be conserved. So no horizontal external force or impulse acts on the system while m prime is being added or attached from the top. Okay, so therefore momentum should be conserved. So mu should be equal to m prime plus n, the total mass, into v. Yes, very good, Aparna. That's correct. Now let's move on to exercise 3, section B, question number 1. Okay, so just complete writing this question and go through question number 1. Try it out yourself. Okay. So 100 newtons of force acts on a 50 kg mass for 2 seconds, and the same force acts on a 25 kg mass for 2 seconds. The ratio of momenta produced and accelerations caused in the two bodies respectively are how much? So for momenta, you have to just use the concept of change in momentum is equal to impulse. So impulse is force multiplied by time. So in both the cases, you are applying the same amount of force of 100 newtons for the same amount of time, that is 2 seconds. So your impulse is the same. It is 200 Newton seconds. So the momenta will also be the same. It will change from 0 to 200 kilogram meter per second. So the ratio of momenta will be 1:1. But the ratio of acceleration will be different because acceleration will be given by force divided by mass. So in the second case, the mass is half while the force is the same. So obviously the acceleration will become double. So the acceleration ratio will be 1:2, whereas the momenta ratio will be 1:1. Yes, Bhagesh, your answer is correct. Okay, so let's go through this question. So what is happening is, in question 1, the concept you have to apply is that impulse equals change in momentum. Okay. Or J is equal to delta P, where impulse J is equal to force multiplied by time, and change in momentum is equal to mass into change in velocity upon change in time. So that's, sorry, mass into change in velocity. Just write this like this. So what is happening is, in this case, you are applying a force of 100 newtons for 2 seconds. Okay. In the second case, you are applying the same force for the same 2 seconds. But the mass is different. So because the mass is different, the accelerations will be different. But because the force and the time taken for the force to act is the same, the time for which the force is acting is the same, the impulse will be same. So G is equal to delta P. When I apply this over here, F delta T is equal to change in momentum for the first one. So that is 100 into 2 is equal to delta P1. So whatever final momentum this has, which is M1 into V1, that will be 200 kg meter per second. Now when you apply the same thing here, it's also the same thing. F delta T is equal to delta P2 also, because it's the same force of 100 newtons acting for the same amount of 2 seconds. So by the time this comes here, its momentum has become M2V2. So the final momentum, which is M2V2, will also be equal to how much? It will be 200 kg meter per second. So the ratio of momenta will be equal to the ratio of impulse, which is 1:1. So same impulse, F delta T equal to 200 Newton second, acts on both. Okay. Therefore, both have same momentum, because both were starting from rest. So both have same final momentum. However, for acceleration, you'll use a different equation. For acceleration, you'll use F is equal to ma. So A1 is equal to F by m1, and A2 is equal to F by m2. So A1 is to A2 will become m2 is to m1. That is 1:2. Momik, I hope it is clear now. I mean, this question should have been orally clear only. But okay, I'll give you some time to write this down. This is a very straightforward question, but just so this is one concept you are using, that impulse is equal to change in momentum. And other than that, you are using Newton's second law, that net force is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, those who have finished this, which I guess is most of you, do question 4, 5, and 6 of same exercise. If I haven't done these questions already, just try them out. Okay, good, Dhruv. Yes, Bhagyashree. Yeah, so move on to the fourth question. Bhumik, just like the problem we are doing today, the same exact problem but different values. So should not take you too much time. So on this smooth horizontal surface, you have your system of two blocks which are connected by a thread. Same thing actually, same exact problem we done earlier. And we are applying some kind of a force on this one. We are pulling it. Okay, so this force is given to us as 600 newtons. That's the only difference, that it's a larger amount of force. And the masses are, I think, the same as we had taken, 10 and 20 kg. But only the 20 kg one is being pulled, as you can see. So anyway, that will create tension like this. Okay. And both of them will have a common value of acceleration A. So your equations will be for block M1, T is equal to M1A, for block M2, F minus T is equal to M2A. So T is equal to 10A and 600 minus T is equal to 20A. If you want to find out the tension, so you can see A, which is equal to T by 10 from the first equation, is equal to 600 minus T by 20 in the second equation. So T is equal to 600 minus T by 2. So that means 3T is equal to 600. So T is equal to 200. Meghna, if you don't have the module, then you can message me later. I will send you the PDF of the module. Because you will require the module to do homework also. So just send me a personal message later on WhatsApp. I will message you the. I will send you a PDF of the module. Okay, let's move on to the fifth question. So two masses. Okay. Now fifth question onwards, we are looking at pulley type of system. So let's discuss that. So this is your pulley. Okay. It's attached to a ceiling like this. Okay. And you have a light thread which is going around the pulley. Let me make a better diagram of this. Okay, so the pulley is attached via its axle to a ceiling like this, and a thread is going around it. So because we have suspended weights on the thread, so on either side it will be stretched out. It will be taut. Okay. So the pulley is what we call a smooth fixed pulley. So let me explain what a smooth fixed pulley means. So in the three-dimensional diagram of a pulley, it looks something like this. It has this kind of a structure typically, and it has an axle. This is the axle, and this is the surface of the pulley on which the thread is bound typically. Some part of the thread is coming out from that side and some part on the other side. So this is the light thread. Okay. So what we mean by a fixed smooth pulley is that smooth refers to this part. The surface of the pulley will be smooth. Okay, so that means that the thread slips freely on the pulley surface. Okay, there's no friction to hold the string. Okay. And what we mean by fixed is that the axle is fixed. So the pulley does not rotate. Rotating pulleys is more complicated, and that will come in your middle of class 11 in a chapter called rotational mechanics. So here the pulley is fixed. That means the axle does not rotate. It's a fixed axle. So the pulley is like a disc that remains stationary and the thread just slips on. Okay. So now if we attach masses M1 and M2 like this over here, and suppose M1 is greater than M2, then M1 will tend to accelerate downwards because its weight will dominate. But if M1 comes down by a certain distance, M2 has to go up by the same amount of distance because the thread is of fixed length. So if this comes down with an acceleration A, then this will have to go up with the same acceleration E. And because of the weight of the two blocks, the tension is now taut. So it has a tension everywhere in the thread. Because it's a light thread, remember we discussed, there'll be uniform tension throughout. Light means that we can consider it to be massless. Its mass is negligible. So this is the explanation of what is the meaning of smooth fixed pulley. Yes, Bhageshri, it's correct. So in this particular question, we are given M1 is 12 kgs, the heavier one that is, and M2 is 8 kgs. You can interchange also, it doesn't matter, but then the direction of acceleration will interchange. So your answer will become 4 by 20 times G. So that is 0.2 times G. So if we take G as 10 meters per second square, it will become 2 meters per second square. But anyway, let's work this out. So now I want to find out both the things, the acceleration as well as the tension. So first of all, you make sure that you understand the meaning of this term, smooth and fixed pulley, because this will be very common not only in right now for these questions, but in the early part of your class 11th. We'll look at various systems which have not only one, but a combination of fixed smooth pulleys. Okay, so hope this part is clear, people. Okay. Now let us see how we will calculate the accelerations and the tension by making use of Newton's laws. So now if you consider the block M1, okay, you will realize that what all forces are acting on it. There is tension acting upwards. Okay. But there is also its weight, which is acting downwards. And obviously the weight is dominating because it's accelerating downwards. Okay, so this is the situation for the block M1 and it's accelerating downwards. So its equation will become the net force acting on it is equal to mass into acceleration. So the net force is weight minus tension because weight is dominating. So the net force is downward. Okay, whereas if you look at the situation of the other block, M2, it's accelerating upwards. So for M2, what is happening? It's the tension which is dominating. So the FBD looks the same, but because the weight is less in comparison, the tension is dominating. Okay, so the tensional force is going to be more than this one's weight, which is why it is having a net acceleration which is now upwards. Okay. So when we apply this equation for it, the net force acting on it is mass into acceleration. That net force becomes P minus weight is equal to mass into acceleration. So that becomes our second equation. So now these have to be solved. So M1G minus P is equal to M1A and T minus M2G is equal to M2A. So it's a very simple situation. If you just add the two equations, your tension cancels out and you get M1G minus M2G. And on this other side, M1A plus M2A. So as you can see, M1 minus M2G becomes M1 plus M2A. So you get this standard formula that the acceleration becomes the difference of the masses divided by the sum of the masses into G. So in this case, it will be 12 minus 8 upon 12 plus 8 times 10. So that is nothing but, you can see it is so you can see that that is 4 by 20 into 10. That is 2 meters per second square. So the acceleration is 2 meters per second square. Okay. And then substitute that back in this equation. So you'll get the tension as M1 into G minus A, as you can see. So M1 was 12 kg. So that becomes 12 into acceleration was 2. So okay, so 96 newtons. That becomes your tension. So this is the complete method of solving this. Okay, now move on to question number 6. So in question 6, the concept you should apply is impulse is equal to change in momentum. You'll get it quite easily by applying this. Just try this out. Yeah, that's correct, Bhagyashri. So in question 6, we're having two identical masses which are coming towards each other with identical speeds. Okay. So this is the initial state of the system. Let's say this one is A and this one is B. And then they collide. And after colliding, yeah. So let's say okay, they would have collided somewhere here. And after having collided, they separate like this. So after some time, what is observed is that they are both recoiling like this. Okay. So we have to calculate the impulse that they apply on each other. So this is the impulse that acts on A because of B, and this is the impulse that acts on B because of A. So now we just have to apply that impulse momentum equation to each one. So impulse is equal to change in momentum, that one. So for A, we can see that the impulse is minus J, and there should be final momentum minus initial momentum. Because I'll take this direction as my positive x direction. So the impulse is acting in the negative direction. Okay, so with sign it will become like this. And the final momentum is minus mv naught, whereas the initial momentum was plus mv naught. So you can see that the impulse acting on A is equal to 2mv naught in magnitude, and the direction is backwards. Now, like this, you apply the impulse momentum theorem on B, and you'll see there's equal and opposite impulse that acts on it. So for B, the impulse is plus JB, because it's acting in the positive direction, and the final momentum is plus mv naught, whereas the initial momentum was minus mv naught. So that impulse is equal to 2mv naught, but in the forward direction. So you can see that JA and JB are equal and opposite. They're same magnitude, but they're opposite in direction because they are coming from action reaction principle. Okay. And their magnitudes of 0.6 kilogram meter per second, or you can express it as Newton second also each, because the mass was given to us and V naught was given to us. So from that we'll get these values. The mass is I think 0.05 kg or something. Yeah, 50 grams, and V naught's value is 6 meters per second. So on substituting, you'll get this. So is this fully clear, Bhomik? Have you understood this? Okay, good. Okay, so let us look at another question involving a pulley-based system. As I told you, that's going to become very important in future for us. So next example, what we have is this time this pulley is attached to the corner of a smooth table like this. So this is okay. So this is our system over here. So A and B have identical mass, and C has mass m prime equal to 12 kg, or 6 times the mass. Okay. Both the threads are light. Okay. And G is equal to 10 meters per second square. So find acceleration of the system and the tension T1. Okay, so just try this out, people. Okay, so anybody got the answer for acceleration? Okay, let me check. I'll tell you the answer. Wait. The acceleration should come out 2.5 meters per second square. And therefore this tension T1 should come out to be 30 newtons. Okay. So anyway, let us see why. C, the block C's mass is that much. The blocks are A, B, and C. और उसका mass उतना है भौमिक. I told you na, there are 3 blocks A, B, and C, and their masses are M, M, and M prime. So this. So anyway, let's look at the situation of each of these blocks. This one, and this larger one. If you look at the force picture on them, weight, tension, weight, one downward tension, and one upward tension. On this, there is one horizontal tension, and other forces are vertical and they are balancing each other. So, blocks. So, mg T2, mg T2, T1, T1 m prime g, and let's say normal reaction from the ground. And all of them are having the same magnitude of acceleration. These two are having acceleration downwards. This one is having acceleration horizontally. So now write the equations for all the blocks. So for the block B, my equation will become net force is mg minus tension T2. So that is equal to ma. For block A, the equation will become weight plus this tension downwards minus that tension upwards. That's the net force. So that's mass into acceleration. And for block C, we have just the horizontal tension is providing the acceleration. And vertically, of course, forces are balancing. M prime G is balanced by normal reaction. So need not worry about this. So these are my 3 important equations. Okay. And now I have to just find acceleration from this. So just add the 3 equations. Okay, equation 1 plus equation 2 plus equation 3. So you'll see you'll get mg minus T2, mg plus T2. So T2 cancels out, minus T1 plus T1, T1 cancels out. So you get 2 mg on the left hand side. On the right hand side, you get m plus capital M prime E. So your acceleration becomes 2m upon 2m plus m prime times g. So that is 2 into 2 kgs divided by 2 into 2 kgs plus this one, which is 12 into 10. So 4 by 16 into 10. So that is nothing but 2.5 meters per second square. So that is your acceleration. And this is a way of solving this question. Okay. And once you got this acceleration, now substitute this in equation number 3. So you'll get that tension T1. So M prime is 12 kg. So you get the tension T1 as 30 newtons. The acceleration is. Okay, so this is a slightly trickier type of question compared to your module exercise questions and all, but in future, especially in the beginning of class 11, there'll be a lot of systems based on pulleys and all that. So it's a good idea to get used to some better level questions involving pulleys and things. So there's no harm in doing some additional type of questions here. All right, people. So with that, we come to a conclusion for today's lecture. Now try to complete up the module assignments or the model exercises 3, 4, and 5 for your for the Newton's laws chapter, because next lecture we will look at remaining doubts and few more questions and then move on to the next chapter, which will be gravitation. Chapter number 3, gravitation, is the next chapter, so we will move on to that. All right, so try to wind up with the questions of the exercise for chapter 2 in the module assignments, and so that we can get ready for the next chapter. That's it for today, people. Thanks for attending.